Man, go-go gonna make you move. It's gonna make you feel good.
It's an energy, it's a vibe, it's a rhythm.
You feel your roots. It's natural. Come from the motherland, that beat of that drum.
You gotta know when to keep that thing funky, come in funky with it.
Go-go isn't just about music. It's about our culture, it's about our history.
It's all this energy, all these kids on stage, jumping on speakers and dancing this song.
It's about our spirituality.
Like an out-of-body experience. There's a crisis that's happening in the city.
Something could break out at any moment.
There's a loud pop. Turned out to be a gunshot.
Scores were settled at these shows. Go-go would be blamed, which was just absolute bullshit.
The crack, the violence, almost destroyed go-go.
Go-go has been attacked because it's been systematically muted in the city for decades.
DC residents are angry at the attempts to silence the music played in front of a Metro PCS near Howard University.
They're threatening lawsuits. They're like, you have to shut off that music.
You're calling someone's culture, someone's heart, someone's healing a nuisance. Ooh, that's trouble.
This is the biggest thing that happened since the riots.
I think it could get really ugly.
10,000 young people showed up. It had almost 20,000 views within minutes.
That hashtag went all the way to London.
That was really the power of the people.
This is a part of us.
It's our way of life. This is who we are.
We still here. Black people still in Washington, D.C. Chuck had that one message, don't let our music die, son. So they take the breath out my body, man. I'm gonna keep it going. I will never leave my music or my city.
This ain't no new DC. See this that true DC. See this that go-go that chopping me and you DC. But now right through DC. I'm cool with new DC. Man, just don't come here and complain about what we do in DC. Gentrified and lies here in the District of Columbia. Cause nowadays it's do or die in the District of Columbia. I got a right to know, I got a right to do, I got a right to be here.
There's always been a large Black population here.
Everything, including businesses, downtown DC, were Black.
I ain't from Washington, I'm from DC.
You're not DC if you don't know the best place to get some chicken wings and mambo sauce.
You're not DC if you're scared to ride the green line. You're not DC if you don't respect Chuck Brown.
Music captured my soul just by growing up in Washington, D.C., listening to, go-go music that was around me. This was always an indigenous music scene here in D.C. That's who we were. That was our identity.
You get caught up into this culture of the sound of the city. The sound of the city is go-go.
We are backyard Washington, D.C. Go-go music is what you supposed to be.
It's a feel. It ain't nothing you born with unless you was born here.
Go-go is the soundtrack for all of us growing up.
Yeah. That energy is ingrained in you. It's the heartbeat of DC.
I first heard go-go in the early 80s. I was working at Waxy Maxy in Rockville, Maryland. And there was this kid named Dwayne who used to put on these records, and I didn't really know what it was, but I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I was a student in high school. I'm almost scared to say it was 1980 or 79. And these guys, Troy and Bobby Smoot, they came up to me, we want you to join our go-go band. And so I was like, well, what's go-go? And he had the boom box on his shoulder, and he hit the button and he's playing, and I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It's like a call to action. It makes you want to do something, right? Whether it's throw up your hood and represent your hood, or grab your friends and y'all jump around crazy, or bounce, whatever your vibe is, like, it's extreme.
You had bands here like the Young Senators and the Matadors, already heavily into percussion. And you had a group called the Soul Searchers. and it was led by a guy named Chuck Brown.
Around 1976, Chuck Brown, who is a guitarist who plays blues, jazz, funk, develops the go-go sound at a club in DC called the Maverick Room at the corner of 4th and Rhode Island. They knew it was something because people at the Maverick Room started jumping on tables, you know? And so he told the drummer, just keep the beat right there. They kept it going. They would bridge songs. They didn't take any break. So it really was sort of a way to compete with disco, keeping people on the dance floor.
It got to the point where the audience kind of was digging those percussive interludes more so than the songs themselves. It wasn't even called a go-go. If you play that way, you playing Chuck's groove, you playing Chuck's beat.
It don't mean a thing if it don't got the go-go swing. You go do-wop, 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 do-wop.
He also worked with a group called Los Latinos, which was a kind of a Latin group. So he had an awareness of gospel music, R&B music, blues. He was the antithesis of musicianship and artistry because his group was so tight that you thought you were listening to a record.
He was one of the first people to play in some of the major coliseums. He can go anywhere in the city with Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers and sell it out. The first 45 we played was Bustin' Loose by Chuck Brown. My father had the 45, and my father was, and I was like, okay, but I could feel it. As a young kid, I remember at that time, that song had a different feeling than the other songs that he was listening to.
When I got my full glass of go-go uncut was when I did Capitol Center, me and Rick, Run DMC, and Chuck Brown, man. And you're like, damn, man, I like this so much. Why do I like this so much? Why am I moving like, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, I had the hottest record in the world. But it was nothing, in my opinion, compared to what Chuck Brown was able to create on just vibrations, spiritual energy, and this sound called go-go. The original first go-go kind of beat came from Grover Washington Jr., and that's where Chuck got that from Mr. Magic. But then he added in percussion, and the percussion is incredible. It's the drums locking in with the congos.
Chuck basically used that to create the pocket.
The pocket beat consists of playing in between the drummer, playing in between the other percussionist that controls the cowbells. We can pay homage to Tyrone, AKA Jungle Boogie. I mean, he laid down beats 30, 40 years ago that we still do today.
Jungle Boogie played specific beats that stood out that used to drive everybody crazy. So every conga player from every go-go band wanted to be like Jungle Boogie.
He's the blueprint, that's what we call him. I had to make a name for myself following him because he was the man.
Most of the beats that I learned on 2 congos. And when I finally got 4, I expanded the beats to fit go-go. I just wanted to do something different. Make the Congo stand out.
An incredible drummer and an incredible congo player, you got something special.
the crowd starts chanting the Congo player's name. Go, go, Mickey! Jungle Boogie!
Any Kunga player is exciting to watch. Mickey just takes it to a whole nother level.
Jungle Boogie, Mickey, Juju.
Hey, Juju, you got.
These guys were perfectionists of the beat that made Go-Go what it was.
Y'all wanna party?
Chuck Brown is the creator of Go-Go, and then you had other bands like Rare Essence, Trouble Funk, who, as children, basically, they pick up the beat and they start developing it as a sound.
Rare Essence was the gritty band, the band that the young people like would just swear by.
People say that Chuck built the foundation and Rare Essence like built the house.
James Thomas, call him Professor Funk, he was Chuck's DJ. Funk started to take us to Chuck Brown's rehearsals up at the Magic Room, and we would just go in and just sit and watch them. After a while, people started calling us the baby soul searchers, but we were just, you know, mimicking what we saw them doing.
Rare Essence kept bringing elements that was just wowing people. I mean, them cats brought choreography and uniformity on stage.
James Funk, he's the one that's mostly responsible for us developing into the go-go band that we became.
It
wasn't until several years later he actually got up on stage with us and started doing, you know, his mic thing.
When we was young, it was about cassette tapes. And everything Funk said, we'd have to press rewind, like, did you hear what he just said? Good God Almighty, I know everybody. I mean, he just would just come up with this stuff. His voice would cut through.
A lead mic is so key because you're just talking to people over a beat, literally. They're controlling the crowd, they're running the band. He's like the choir director / hype man. That is a skill. Nobody does it better than a lead mic on Go-Go.
He was just a little guy, but he had the biggest voice. I mean, the strongest voice ever.
Little Benny is energy, pure energy. Whenever Benny was on stage, you knew it was gonna be electrifying. He had the good dance moves and, you know, his trumpet playing.
Listen, cat in the hat, you sleep slack. Nine of that, you can't get back. Take it away, take it away, take it away.
His spirit, his energy, his showmanship, he was the James Brown of Go-Go.
Bear started playing with us regularly, and one night he did this slide. And went into a go-go pocket, which I was like, oh my God, what was that? And when the pocket started, the crowd went crazy. I thought I was gonna lose my mind. And I turned around to the drums and looked at Juju and I said, what was that? He said, Maiesha, that is what you call go-go.
EU freeze, y'all.
EU was powerful musically. Probably had the most powerful horn section and singers in Go-Go. I mean, the horn section was phenomenal. It was like on another level.
Chuck was one of my musical inspirations because I love rock. So you can imagine playing a bunch of rock and roll. Black folks. They're like, what are you doing? He said, you gotta change your style, give people what they want. I switched the whole format of our music and started playing top 40 music and go-go music. And making my own songs and stuff like that in a go-go fashion.
It was 5 or 6 of the guys, and they were holding Sugar Bear up in the air. They had him holding him up, and he's like this. He's holding his guitar, and he's like this, and they're dancing back and forth, swinging him back and forth. I was like, that's kind of cool. And then they put him down, and he started walking like a robot to the front of the stage and got to the front and started playing his bass. I was like, man, I want to do that. I tell him all the time, I said, you're the reason I'm playing bass guitar now.
We lose booty! Yo, I got enough control for your body and your skin tone.
I kept hearing about this little band. They play on buckets and cans. The manager of the band at the time was one of my friends. We were in high school together. He's like, man, stand right here. I'm gonna get the band. I'm like, you gonna get the band? He came back pushing a grocery store shopping cart full of buckets and cans and boxes and sticks, and a gang of little boys following behind him. They had a precision setup. Then he said, all right, let's go. They started performing. I was blown away.
Junkyard used to take trips in the van. I'll never forget it. I always wanted to be a crate getter. I wanted to work for the band to help them get crates from back of McDonald's. Everyone had buckets that were cut in different shapes and set up on cones that people were using for traffic.
I was listening to Chuck, you know what I'm saying? The first band we seen was like Mass Extension. Came down Bird Farms. They inspired me to play music, you know what I'm saying?
Ladies are shaking, moving all around. I need a move for love.
These kids, young kids, they playing on buckets, but they giving you that go-go pocket sound that everybody like.
We used to go down to Georgetown, and we used to go to the National Mall set up by the Maiesha and perform. Of course, we had the tourists coming through town, and everybody just ate it up and they were loving it.
I call Junkyard the leaders of the new school. So you had that whole younger generation coming up under them.
Words from Junkyard kind of made me who I am. They had all the songs on the radio. We rode our bike and watched them play at DuPont Circle. I put all his cassette tapes on. I had them stacked in a box, stacked against the wall. I just mimicked everything he did. He was like a superstar to me.
This, the Go-Go, y'all.
I joined Trouble Band and Show, which was a top 40 R&B cabaret group. Rio Edwards was the founding manager. We started opening up for Chuck Brown, and eventually it became Trouble Funk. We would go see barcades and Commodores and try to emulate their uniforms and their steps. We had these little stripy Bama uniforms with the pink, purple, and blue. Rio gave me a microphone. I learned some of the people's names that Chuck was calling. It's like, Chuck called your name, that means just like you're somebody. Yeah, I said, yeah, especially that the kid's gonna have to study Eddie, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden people start coming up with little pieces of paper with their names on them. And I was like, oh, it's working, it's working.
Man, they didn't play anybody else's music. It was all original and it was good. The house party, that's all we wanted to hear. Yo, put on the Trouble album, straight up go-go. That was it, that was it.
I hated Trouble Funk. Couldn't stand them. I could not stand them. Love them now.
Jimmy, drop the bomb. Jimmy, drop the bomb. You wanna drop the bomb? Well, let's drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
It was us and those guys. Anybody who was paying attention knew that that was going to be a show that night because they knew that we would be trying to outdo each other.
It was a lot of competition. We all kept each other up on our game. It's like when EU and Trouble get together, it's like it's an automatic sellout crowd because they know they're going to get a hell of a show.
Good night, y'all. I don't hear you. Oh, yes, I do. Okay.
Grateful Dead had that following, and I think that's probably the closest thing to what go-go is.
Rick Wellman, the drummer, would like hit one cymbal, bang! And everybody just like hit the floor like, wind me up, Chuck.
I'm telling you, man, changed my life. Wind me up, Chuck. Wind me up, Chuck.
Go-go isn't just the music, it's a whole culture.
Go-go is a collective of everybody in Chocolate City.
If you didn't know go-go, I don't know where you lived, because everybody in DC was into it.
I was like in my early 20s. I was going to a lot of those shows. And it was one of the most amazing things I had ever seen. It was hugely energetic, you know, like it was athletic, all the dancing.
It was a sweaty mashup of people bouncing to the beat. You can be as high up as you want, you can be as chill as you want, to the same beat.
At the time, the hairstyle was short in the front, long in the back. Crimps, lots of hairspray. We danced literally until 5 in the morning. By the time I got out, my hair was soaked.
People used to be in the go-go with big radios, boom boxes, and holding them up to the speakers and trying to record. And then the speakers hit you in your chest. It was, the experience was incredible.
This was a world outside of mainstream Washington. And it was the biggest party I'd ever seen. Just hundreds of kids dancing and just having the time of their lives. To truly understand the culture, you kind of have to go to some shows, and not just one.
You wanted to hear your neighborhood. There were particular people that they would call out that were there every week. So, you know, Lisa of the World, or if they didn't know you, you could pass a piece of paper up and they could shout you out that way.
And your neighborhood becomes part of the song. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my man from Central Quarter, my man from Southeast, that's what we waiting to hear on. We became the songs. Who needs lyrics? We are the lyrics. They talking about us.
That you and you? See you walk up in the building, man. You know what I'm talking about? Also, big love going out to my homie D-Love, my lump, Dre Sean up in here too, man. This party with the JYB. Whatever rock, we go.
Special dedication goes out to the sweet ladies of the Lunchbox crew, the Jazzy James, and to the Freaky Dicky Four.
We had little crews, Gangster Chronicles. I was a part of the Gangster Chronicles.
Back then, there were no gangs, it was crews, you know? The food stamp crew, the headache crew, the umbrella crew would come in like maybe 25, 50 deep with umbrellas. It ain't raining, but they come in there with
There's something empowering in hearing your name or hearing where you're from, and that is such a huge part of a go-go show. And it's sort of tribal in a way. It gives people an opportunity to sort of poke their chest out and say, I matter.
It's not something that you go and you watch and you clap lightly after it. It's something that you participate in and you create along with the band.
Tell me what you feel like doing, y'all. The audience automatically knew. Feel like moving that body.
It's about the live energy. So we feed off of the energy that the crowd gives us, and they feed off of the energy that we're giving them.
There's always an interaction with the audience.
You wanna drop the bomb? Can we drop the bomb?
I was running late for a show one day, and when I walked in, the band was already playing. So Dyke was on the synthesizer going, bzzz, choom. And the crowd was like, drop the bomb, drop the bomb. And he'd do it again, right? So I was like, hey, get on this. So I hurry up, hook up my guitar up. And I was like, you want to drop the bomb? So they actually helped us create that song. They fed off of what we were doing and gave us that hook. And it became like one of our biggest songs.
Bransons would let people from the audience get on the mic and do their thing. Rodney got on the mic and the crowd went off. Rodney, Stinky Dink, Go-Go Nate, DC Scorpio, all that because they got on Ray Essence stage. And it was a whole trend. And Fat Rodney led that trend. James Funk always referred to them as stars and celebrities.
You could buy PA tapes later, either on the street or at Waxy Maxie's or, you know, one of the local stores.
A band could be playing 3-4 nights a week, and that tape would come out right after they played.
I have some of them still, and I can relive, you know, exactly what happened at that particular, you know, venue. And, you know, everything is on it from, you know, if there's a fight, it's all on it. There's nothing that's edited. It is exactly what happened at the club that night.
Still got my Nike boots on. You know DC people when you see them. The way we dressed, the way we spoke, our vernacular, our slangs, the things that we said, our dances were uniquely DC.
Every section of the city got their own gear that they wear. If you see Madness, you know, the Uptown kid. You see Shooters, the other kid. When you came into the joint, you represented your hood. It's just how we carried ourselves, and people had fun doing it.
We were creating culture ourselves that people throughout the country like adapted to.
It's DC, black jeans, black tee, this that North Face rap. Better get me.
There was a certain style that folks uptown had that was different from folks over in Southeast. You know, Southeast wore the regular gray New Balance. Well, uptown they were more colorful with theirs.
Part of the whole culture was taking pictures.
Like the Go-Go flick was the biggest part of the Go-Go besides the band. Like everybody took 3-4 Go-Go flicks. Sometimes it'd be 20, 30 people in the flick.
Mr. G was a cameraman up against the wall standing very tall. He got the big spotlight and he's doing it all. I mean, that was the little saying, you know.
Go-Go was sort of born right on the heels of the civil rights movement. We weren't where we wanted to be, but we had accomplished what we felt at the time was so much.
Go-Go, almost more than anything else, is this really strong, powerful sense of community.
It's connection, it's power.
It's ours. I mean, it was created from people just like us, people that grew up in the hood just like us.
Probably the height of the popularity was the mid-'80s. So you had a lot of bands that sort of came out of that era.
We grew up running the streets and, you know, different areas had different bands. Ray Essence was a Southeast band and Petworth was a Northwest band.
Petworth was playing on that little playground. They were famous. They were the heroes of the neighborhood. Go-Go was everywhere, from Air Raid, Petworth, Mass Extension, Hot Cold Sweat was pretty hot. I mean, some of these young groups were just popping up all over the place.
Reds and the Boys had this chant that I loved. Put your right hand in the air, put your left hand down in your underwear, and groove, y'all. Northeast Groovers, man, I'd say they were one of the most underrated bands. That band was tight.
There's been some hole-in-the-wall places that bands played. The technicians, people like Mo Gentry and all, they knew how to tap into the light pole. And boom, we got our power that we playing on.
Junkyard came out with the hee-haw, and everybody in the neighborhood started trying to do the dance and made their own, you know, rendition of it. That's when you knew. They would bring their junkyard van around the neighborhood and set it up on the block. And when I tell you, you didn't need a telephone. We ran from house to house. Man, junkyard great set up down the street. Junkyard always been that to us on the south side.
The ways that we found out what shows were where were primarily by word of mouth, but also there were glow posters that were these neon posters that people stapled to poles.
You would see them all over the city in the African-American neighborhoods. the major thoroughfares, in front of restaurants, clubs. Those posters would be up there on abandoned buildings.
We would order our posters from Globe, go out Baltimore, pick them up. You know, it had to be late at night because you're not really supposed to put them up. So late at night, we jump in the car or the truck, and we riding up and down the road, and you jumping out and you stapling them up right quick because people paid attention to those. You know, that's how they knew who was playing with.
We had a rich musical culture that came out of here. We had Duke Ellington, we had Marvin Gaye, we had guys who came out of Howard University, Donald Byrd, but also we had rich high school marching bands.
EU, Rare Essence, all the major bands were started in schools like Ballou and Eastern. You have no idea how much go-go came out of Ballou. So much go-go just out of one school right there.
They helped create the conditions that allowed go-go to happen. They had strong marching band traditions, and they also had arts programs, they had music in the park. So it became something that was really allowed it to flourish and grow in DC.
3, 4, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. I tell you when. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop.
Our popularity came off with Anacostia Park. We used to do that every year on Malcolm X Day. It was free for the community. You had about 10,000 people out there.
There was a place where kids uptown, Southeast could hang out in Anacostia Park. They would come to town on their bicycles. You would hear kids come through uptown, through Northeast, and as they crossed Sousa Bridge, you hear them whistle because they were telling the cars, you know, we're coming. And they would come down to the park. There was integration of different neighborhoods. So when we finished up and, you know, shut down the last band, and I got, you know, 3,000, 10,000, 20,000 kids heading out of the park, they knew that Pennsylvania Avenue, Minnesota Avenue was gonna be shut down.
There was the Showmobile, which was a tractor trailer that went around various neighborhoods. So if you were a musician or you aspired to be a musician at 14, you were able to get a summer job and travel around on the Showmobile and get paid.
Showmobile was fun. You were getting paid by the city to go on the stages all over the city in parks.
At that time, all the musicians, Funky Ned out of Ballou, was just top-notch, young, hungry guys just practicing, getting better, and that's what kind of fed the go-go bands. And so a lot of those musicians went on to different places in the world. Ned ended up playing with Maxwell. Hell, Chucky Thompson wrote, in my opinion, Mary J. Blige's best album. So, you know, the musicianship coming out of the city was just unbeatable.
We've had musicians that ended up playing with Miles Davis and playing with Eddie Kendricks. You know what I mean? We've had guys who branched out and went other places because their musicianship was so good.
Go-Go Live at the Cap Center was the biggest thing ever for us.
We gave them opportunity to be on a bigger stage. And when you start playing on a bigger stage, it's like playing, you know, doing karaoke in your basement versus, you know, big amps and Super Trooper spotlights, and it changes your whole perspective, you know what I mean? You can't even see 2 rows down, but you know everybody sees you.
We had this huge bass sound, 12,000 watts of lights. I mean, we did things that had never been done before.
You had 17.5 thousand people at the Capitol Center, and that was all us. That was the biggest thing to ever hit the go-go scene, the biggest.
I grew up going to the Capitol Center seeing groups like Confunction and Barcades and Heatwave and Parliament Funkadelic and Sly Stone, and it was also the place where the Bullets played, where the Capitals played. To have a whole show with nothing but go-go bands was kind of like unheard of. That was the biggest thing in the world.
People were buying the video to see if they were in it, because there were so many crowd shots.
Those are the things we took pride in. But that pride came from Anacostia. That pride came from the community. That pride came from us being tied into the community.
And to have so many fans there
to experience and be a part of that show. That was an incredible event right there. We want to replicate it somehow, but it just can't be replicated. That Go-Go Live at the Capitol Center.
Something about being live. It was beautiful. Each night was a different night, all this energy, and it manifests itself in the music. Now the downside is when you try to go in the studio and record it, because all of a sudden, what made it great is not there.
The kids have been following us for 20 years and they wanted the live sound. All the rest of the songs on the radio were studio sounded.
Radio didn't approach Go-Go. From what I remember, they didn't really want to play it because something about the noise of the cowbells and this, that, the other, it didn't match what they were already playing. It didn't match their format.
That's how Go-Go got further and further and further away from making it. We were no longer now putting together studio albums that would be competitive out in the world. If DC wouldn't play the stuff, you know, when we get to Memphis and Miami, you know, they're not playing it.
So when a radio station actually played a Go-Go record, it was a big deal.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, this is Go-Go on WOL.
WOL was the first to ever embrace a Chuck Brown, Red Essence, EU, Trouble Funk. Miss Hughes had Chuck Brown on her morning show numerous times.
I always sought to represent the underrepresented. I always gave voice to the voiceless. And Go-Go was very much in that.
I credit Miss Hughes and Alfred for even thinking of the Go-Go show because that gave Go-Go the outlet that it needed. Nobody else wouldn't play Go-Go. The Go-Go show ended up doing great numbers.
I decided that I should assume the responsibility for giving exposure to Go-Go. But it was Max Kidd who planted the thought in my head.
He was that guy that took Go-Go probably the highest level it's been.
He knew that there was something more to Go-Go.
Max Kidd was one of those icons and pioneers in Washington, D.C. who's truly unsung.
This is the way that I rock the spot for the people that come to sweat and get their body hot. Whether you like it or not.
I was playing in all the top urban clubs at the time, between late 70s to like mid-90s.
Is DC in the house? Say it now.
All the Go-Go bands would make sure that they brought their records to me first. I broke a lot of records.
The Butt was part of the soundtrack for Spike Lee's School Days film.
The Butt is one of the biggest records that ever came out of DC that actually went national.
That was most people's first introduction to Go-Go, and it was a huge crossover hit on Black charts. And EU deserves real credit for creating that iconic song that's still with us and that's still resonating outside the Beltway.
Donnie Simpson from WKYS back at the time, he broke the record on the radio. From that one time he played it, he had so many calls on there. Play that again, play that again. The record played about 10 times within 2 hours.
To see Sugar Bear when he did Doing Your Butt, or Sardines and Pork and Beans with Junkyard, it was a great feeling.
When we were signing to Def Jam, that was a highlight for us, being signed and then doing the record Sardines, which actually was the B-side of The Word.
When we tried to do that thing with Andre Harrell and he listened to our tapes, he says, you know, guys, I've been listening to this for hours and the one thing that's missing is there are no songs. You guys just groove after groove after groove after groove. I need songs. That's where Donnell excelled. He and I just kind of lived in the studio, working on new material.
I
very quickly started writing my own songs, and I feel like I've written the most songs.
One thing's for sure, hey, I ain't never turning back. Hey, Bo Jack,
What I'm most proud of in my time of go-go is just originality.
There's so much talent here, and we just keep it in this one little, what they call it, the Chitlin circuit. It's like we just keep all the homegrown gumbo right here and don't want nobody to taste it.
For most go-go bands, when you leave the city and you go on tour, the fans kind of forget about you. Once they have a pop hit, you're not as hardcore anymore, you're not as badass. Whenever the record labels have come to town, they almost always dilute the sound. Even Debut, yes, it is a go-go record, but it's not that classic go-go sound.
Everybody can't take go-go pure. It's too potent. The Butt is one of the greatest songs ever in regards to the balance between go-go and giving it to people so that they can digest it. It has a balance between it that makes it easy for the whole world to embrace it.
Debut cost EU a lot. There's no question. The success of that song cost that band something locally.
People like Mo and Junkyard and even Rare Essence is like, well, we're not changing the sound. It is what it is.
Rare Essence was at its peak, and somebody from Rolling Stone came in. Some reporter with the photographer, and I believe it was Miss Mac who grabbed that camera from the photographer and maybe threw it on the floor.
Rare Essence was signed to my company, MCA Records, for 4 years and then put a record out. They decided to get off the label. To this day, I'm really kind of disappointed that they didn't get the opportunity when they were young to become a national group that really hit.
They didn't know what to do with the music. We were recording and sending songs up, and these were songs that were very popular in this area, but they didn't like it. Had they had a bit more faith in us, I think we would have had some real success across the country.
That's one of the tragedies of the whole recording industry. They want to take an artist and make them something that the artist is not, in an effort to sell records.
When we got to Uptown, Andre Harrell had this young guy, up and coming, Howard University student. He says, I'm gonna put Puffy in charge of y'all. In another situation, I had fired Puffy. So everybody thinks later on that that was the problem, but that wasn't the problem. It was just that we just couldn't find an agreement.
Dick Gregory's theory always was that they didn't want Chuck Brown knowing more than them. They didn't want the Max Kids of the world actually knowing how the music industry functioned. They didn't want them empowered.
Let's go old school. Come on.
When we were with Def Jam, we were just sitting every day waiting for a call that we never got. So we walked away. We started putting out our own recordings under Street Records, which is my label. Then instantly we started seeing revenue. Def Jam probably could have taken us to a broader scale, meaning nationally, but we were okay with, the local exposure.
Before I sell out, I gets the hell out. You won't get me. They wanted to just bring producers and all kinds of writers in that knows nothing about go-go. There's no way you can do a song, doom, 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 doom. That's not go-go. Go-go is live. It's a live music.
The go-go bands are a lot smarter than a lot of these other artists because there's no middleman, there's no record label stealing or taking from them like they do some of these artists. And they're not going to settle for that 25 cents a record.
It was this weird, really strong, self-sufficient scene. They didn't need that national or international success. So in some ways, it's been very insular because the musicians almost didn't need it.
Hip hop is a thing that started in the Bronx and then, sort of moved into the 80s. And then it just took off. And it's still taking off and spreading and growing. Disco was a thing, you know, it's sort of coming in, it's really popular, but then it just kind of like dies off. Go-go does this other thing where it comes into the 70s, kind of rises up to the 80s, you know, roughly analogous with hip hop. And then it just kind of just stays here like this.
We were able to stay functional and self-contained. Real musicians, they respect the fact that we could put 2,000 people in the club.
You're talking about a community and a culture that's been influential to a city for decades and generated millions and millions of dollars for this city.
Multi-million-dollar industry. Black-owned, almost entirely black-owned.
The smart businesses are able to come in, identify us, and say, yo, that go-go is worth some money.
All these clubs and businesses, even Georgetown, like Washington Coliseum, all these places were kept alive by go-go.
Part of what makes go-go so powerful in this city is the ability to see a live performance every single night. Any of these businesses, they act like they don't want the go-go community until you're not making no money, and guess who's at there?
Whatever you might say about hip-hop being this like success story versus go-go's, I say it's the opposite. Because hip-hop employs a lot of white people. It employs a lot of multinational corporations. And I don't see a lot of that money going into black communities. With go-go, that dollar is just circulating right here.
I come from nowhere, 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 nowhere. I come from nowhere.
Go-go was sort of a lens to be able to tell that bigger story about race, space, and cities. Not everyone embraced go-go.
Some people that's born here don't like it. They out of pocket.
It originated actually with the class battle that's gone on in Washington, D.C. for many, many years.
And it was called jungle music by my own people. It was also associated with being ghetto, ratchet maybe.
You can't be upscale and you can't be elite unless you exclude people. And so go-go music was an easy way to say, we are not those people. It's really appalling because this is DC's music. You know, it's just elitism.
1989 is one of the deadliest on record in DC, known as the murder capital of the world.
Starting around 86, 87, as I recall, the crack violence really swept the city. And after Rayful got locked up, it actually got worse because there were more turf battles.
Crack is hitting the streets. You've got guns that are flooding the system. There's a lot of gun violence. There's competition over drug profits that are just going out of control.
Scores would be settled after the shows, and go-go would be blamed.
A lot of dealers just love to come and see the go-go. They was targets, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you looking for so-and-so, he'll be at the go-go because he loved to go see Trouble Phone. We had no control over that.
I remember the night at the Masonic Temple where 11 people were shot outside after the show. And I remember so many shows where 3/4 of the way through, you'd hear gunshots and people would everybody would be running for the door.
We're playing at the Black Hole, and there's a loud pop. It turned out to be a gunshot. And we actually watched the kid climb up on the stage and crawl behind Foots and die right there on our stage. Someone had shot him in the crowd. Don't know how the gun got in there, but I don't know. And we lost our own guy, Foots, our drummer. I pulled him to the side and said, hey man, you need to do something. And not too long after that, my phone rang, I picked up the phone, it was Darren X. And he said, hey, you know they found Foots last night. And I just hung on the phone. I don't even hear anything else. Yep.
There was a lot going on. And go-go, we got caught in the middle of it. I'm gonna be honest, some of them were selling drugs. And I said to them, you have to give it up. I can put money in your pocket. And if you give me enough time, you're gonna be okay.
High drug area.
open air market, maybe a little PCP, but basically just crack.
Man, you can be an innocent bystander get shot.
Everybody knows that guns and drugs were deliberately put in our community. And unfortunately, that made it to the club.
People were dying. Everybody knew somebody who died. I think it was a combination of racism. I think it was classism. And it was this perception that this music of poor Black people was in some way inciting the violence, and that these African-style drum beats were inciting violence, which was just absolute bull. It was sickening that they would blame the music for the violence.
They embellish it and make it worse, you know what I'm saying? They just didn't have their facts right.
The government and the media, too, had to find someone to pin it on. We were the scapegoat.
The city was trying to shut down people's clubs. They were taking liquor licenses.
The Black Hole. This was a club that was created by a retired police officer, and he wanted to create this space for kids. It was basically like a lot of all ages shows, where Essence was the top performer. Like, they did a lot of shows there. The policymakers start connecting it, okay, well, the Black Hole and that music that's played at the Black Hole is a thing that we really need to do something about. So the city start passing emergency legislation, curfew laws. They surgically target go-go music. If you are 17 years old and you want to go out to the ballet, you can stay out as late as you want.
Drug problem is so complex, so complicated, that there's no single simple solution to it. But you can't give up hope. You can't stop fighting.
To them, if we excise go-go, we shut those down, then maybe the violence will stop. Well, it didn't, because go-go wasn't the cause of the violence. What you had was people saying that go-go is this menace that needs to be stopped, and that sentiment is not gone from DC. That is still very much with us right now. DC don't mean Dodge City. DC don't stand for Dodge City.
I think that go-go actually helped to decrease the violence.
For every show that there was violence, there were also many, many shows where you had hundreds, thousands of kids off the street and safe for an evening.
The bands would stop the music if there was a fight inside the go-go, and they'd say, we're leaving. So, like, for instance, Junkyard Band was like, one fight, good night.
We would talk to the people on the microphone, like, listen, you know, when you leave out, go to your cars, get in your cars, you know, go home. And don't give them nothing that they can use against us.
We need to resolve this right here. Big G did a truce with two major gangs that were beefing on a stage at a go-go.
Can we stop it? Can y'all shake each other hand? It's all good.
That's how we utilize go-go with the lead talkers to bring about peace.
Red Apple be slamming, Mickey be cranking, Funk be rapping.
I was a street kid. A friend of mine was murdered. The band saved my life a lot of times where I probably would have been with my friend and was murdered as well. The band was a savior, number one. The band saved me.
There's no question people in this band may not be here today or may be in jail if it had not been for this band. So this band has been a very positive thing for the guys that I'm involved with.
I had a choice either to be in the street or I had a choice to come over here and let somebody guide me into doing something better for myself.
That was my promise to them. If they gave up the drugs and being on the street, I would give them a better life, and they got that.
Junkyard Band saved me as a human being. It saved me.
The crack, the violence, and all those things almost destroyed go-go, but we survived it.
You've criminalized go-go. You've kicked it out of public spaces. You've policed it. It's so much of those wonderful things that are about the Black experience and that make us so resilient as a people. But then at the same time, it's also got this negative stigma, you know, that is pretty much unchallenged. It has really been unchallenged for a long time, like since the 80s.
lot of people don't acknowledge the women in go-go bands and how important they are. The Michelle Blackwells and the Miss Kims, Kiki from TCB, those voices are incredible.
First 10 to 15 years of go-go, there wasn't a woman present unless it was like girls dancing. Northeast Grooves, for example, they had Sunshine and Juicy. But other than that, everything that had to do with power, influence, visibility was really male. Pleasure was one of the first all-girl bands. Miss Kim, when she joined Rare Essence, was the one who showed me that we can be up there on the stage with the guys, represent the ladies, and wear it well.
Belladonna, they are really, really talented. I think it's incredible to see an all-female go-go band.
How can we make it popular for the old folks to come back? We call it grown and sexy. So then you had them bands like Maiesha and the Hip Huggers and Subtle Thoughts.
Maiesha and the Hip Huggers came back and brought a new twist to go-go, which allowed us to get back in venues again. And then the crank came back after that.
At the end of the night, women would come up to me and say, "Girl, I already got my outfit for next week." You know, they looked forward to it. It was a big deal. It was like really cranking, you know, totally different from what we had been doing with the 70s music. And the 70s music was good, but the go-go pocket was like none other. It's not comparable to anything else that you hear in the world. And it became a thing. Everybody was doing grown and sexy music. It was definitely an older, sophisticated, professional audience. And then the band was sexy. Everybody in the band was hot. Unbelievable musicians. We had Cherie Mitchell. She was a little cutie patootie who played the hell out of the keyboards. Juju was a hot drummer. The women went crazy over him. Junie was cutie. Mighty Mo. I had a really sexy band, and I wasn't doing too bad myself back then. And then our audience was sexy. You know, the girls came in dressed to the nines. The guys were looking good. It was a grown and sexy vibe all the way around.
Legendary musician Chuck Brown, the Godfather of Go-go, has died at the age of 75.
It was like all the air was just sucked out of the go-go community.
I met Bonnie Raitt, and I told her that I had sung with Chuck Brown, and she said, "Oh my God, I love him so much." He was loved all over the world.
I felt that I was on the air, and it was tough. I cried like a baby on the air, and I'm proud of that.
Chuck will always be the godfather, forever. His death affected, the whole DMV. It's like, for that one day, it's like everything stopped. I would never forget that day because I got a text from Tom, his manager, and I'm sorry.
There was a magnetism that he possessed. That is the reason why go-go is still alive today.
He is DC, from the soul of it, the sound of it, the economy of it. Chuck was God. He's the Godfather, but he never carried it like that.
Chuck was a very giving, big-hearted guy, loved people, good people person. Chuck just had such a charisma about him. You just wanted to be around him. Every time Chuck would come somewhere public, it would take him forever just to get through the crowd, because everybody just wanted to shake his hand.
This city wanted a way to intentionally honor the legacy of Chuck Brown. This is the 5th year, and each year grows larger and larger.
I really miss Chuck Brown. I played with him for a very long time, and the fact that we still get to honor him and continue his legacy, it really means a lot to me.
Make sure every year, no matter what, we're here for this.
There was no question that go-go was going to survive, and there was no question that it would continue to thrive. I've heard from some musicians that they felt there was an energy in the community that people wanted to do well, people wanted to honor Chuck.
Somehow he still looked over the go-go community and held us together through his spirit.
The city loved him, and the people loved him. Can I tell you something? I loved him.
Black Alley.
T.O.B. Band.
New Impressions, that's another band.
Uncalled For, AKA UCB.
TCB, T.O.B., ABM, Reaction.
TCB and T.O.B.
TCB, they made up a whole new flavor.
Backyard.
They want that toe.
They're the ones.
They want that toe. They want that Tokyo spinach. Tokyo spinach.
BYB is one of the bands that grew up listening to us. Big G used to sneak into the black hole, wanted to be in the band before a backyard band, and now he's doing it.
Once I was able to play in the black hole, that was the highlight. And that was like the Apollo Theater to me as a kid. Because I used to stand outside there and I used to see Red S's names in the lights and Chuck Brown name in the lights.
Backyard came and really, I call it, they revolutionized go-go into the punk rock style of go-go. Hardcore, headbanging, for the hood, strictly for the thugs, period.
They did the thing they called it gangster go-go, or sort of like analogous to gangster rap. Each era is reflecting the times. By the 90s, mass incarceration has really kicked in DC. So the music is really reflecting that, you know, like it comes very like more angry and more driving and more cynical.
We were them kids that we played the rough, grimy music. You know what I mean? We mixed the hardcore hip hop. So when we came on the scene, they was like, oh, they're a little rough. So we got that name, Bad Boys of Go-Go, and we ain't take no mess.
He made being the lead talker be cool, cooler than what it is, because it's always cool to be the leader.
Any social issue, throw a go-go and watch what happens when Big G tell everybody stop, you know, and talks to people. They listen, like they really listen.
To me, G of our generation, G is the Chuck Brown of our generation.
Wale, I don't think he'll ever understand how important he is to the culture here, to hip-hop here, to go-go here.
So our job, we started like, you know what, this is the idea. We're gonna make it where a person in LA can digest go-go. We heard Wale a few weeks later with a song on the radio, and we was like, that right there, that's what we trying to do. And the first record we did together was called Ice Cream Girl. It's a classic, look it up, it's great.
I watch young people go from I want to be in a go-go band to I want to be a rapper. That was a cultural shift in the DMV if you look at it, because again, everything was go-go, everything. And after Wale and his success, now you got Gold Link. You got all these different rappers that are from the DMV, they all sound different. A lot of that to me comes from Wale's initial push and success because he did it using the culture, using the go-go.
The old style go-go has a pocket with percussion. The new style is more timbales and more hype beat. They call it bounce beat.
Bounce beat is not a music that is taught. It's a music that's created. You know, it's very inventive. There's nothing like it.
Like rock music with more flavor.
Polo's Reggie Burwell, he started the bounce beat. He always wanted to be different.
He started that bounce beat, and they talk about him, but I don't think they talk about him as much as we should. and the accolades that I think he should have.
I love what TCB was doing, and then T.O.B. was the young band on the block, and they were trying to make a name for themselves, and I watched them grow into something really incredible.
Basically, Beat Your Feet derives from go-go music. It kind of naturally transitioned from the hee-haw to a certain type of movement, which is now known as Beat Your Feet.
1, 2, 3. Beat Your Feet is like battle dancing.
Beat your feet, hey, beat your feet, hey. Like I was the clap, I clap for you, you know, and then so-and-so or whoever get in the middle and beat their feet, and it was so much fun. Hey, 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 hey. But I ain't do nothing with my feet though.
Let's go, let's go.
Got Backyard, they innovated the breakdown, which was really before the bounce beat. That's how the bounce beat really came about, because the breakdown.
You know, I don't really understand bounce beat. I've gone a few times in my life, and I really give them all the respect in the world. They clearly have captured the minds and imaginations of our youth. And so, for sure, they're to be applauded.
When you get a certain age, you might not want to hear that timbales all the time.
For a long time, a lot of the older cats in go-go, they would say that's not go-go, or that's not this, that's not that. But now, a lot of the older groups play the bounce beat, from Junkyard to Red Essence. Everybody plays the bounce beat. We respect the past. We always gonna give credit to the past, but with TCB and all the other bands that play bounce beat, we cultivated a new style and sound of go-go that people love. So what I say to people that say that's not go-go, cut it out. Bounce beat is go-go.
Hey, Mom, what's up?
How are you?
How you? I'm all right.
Good seeing
Chilling,
you.
man, good. Yeah, working hard, yeah. Good to see you, love. Good, man. Hey, man, what's up? All this used to be just like, everybody just used to be hanging out. Yeah, all like the old timers, 17, all the old timers just outside, music playing. And they changed this joint the Chuck Brown way.
Rest in peace, Chuck Brown.
Rest in peace, Chuck.
Go-go has been attacked because it's been systematically muted by the government and by the white establishment of this city for decades. People are tired of being pushed aside by gentrification.
Gentrification is the boogeyman, but I ain't worried about it.
People displace people that have been living in an area for a period of time, and then people come in and move in and tell them what they need to do. And that's a big thing. You talk about your livelihood, your jobs, your family.
Then you have some who feel entitled to come here and impose their will on us and push us out based upon what they want.
It's the Howard Theater. This is where we grew up at right here. None of this was here. They fixed all this up. This used to be just people sitting out on crates.
Right. A lot of the housing projects are closed, now they're condos. So I think it's definitely 85, 90% African American we were here. Like now I think it's less than 40%.
It's not Chocolate City anymore. A lot of people from my culture that grew up with me hate it. They don't like the change. But I'm like, you wanted to still be taught out? I mean, you ain't gonna be sitting on that corner for the rest of your life. So you gotta try to make some changes.
Gentrification has two sides to it. And everybody likes to focus on one side, but it's the in-betweens that get messy.
The city seems to think that creating a mural makes something a neighborhood. What makes something a neighborhood are the people that live there.
Trying to water down Chocolate City, baby. How you gonna do that? When that vibration start, it's just like, damn, it's just like boom. Right in the core, right in the spirit. You can't change that vibration.
I could spot you haters about a mile away. All that talking down, I just a come a pay. talking go-go when you're not from round the way.
Donald Campbell has a store, Central Communication, where he's been playing go-go since 1995 on the corner of 7th and Florida Avenue. He is somebody who's owned go-go clubs all around the U Street area in the 90s. He starts putting that big speaker out on the corner, blasting the music, because he wanted to preserve it, so he's been doing this since 1995.
I thought the music was dying down, so what I wanted to do was keep the music alive, so I started playing it from open to close every day.
DC residents are angry at the attempts to silence the music played in front of a Metro PCS near Howard University.
There was somebody who lived across the street decided to call T-Mobile, and T-Mobile told us we weren't in compliance, we need to cut our music down.
They're threatening lawsuits. They're like, you have to shut off that music.
I've been hearing the music on this corner since I was a kid. He's been playing for 25 years. I'm 32. That's more than half of my life.
You say there's too much noise in the streets, huh? These out-of-towners calling the police, huh? Like, whoa, Kemosabe, whoa, like, no, Kemosabe.
You do not touch a black man's radio. And what you don't do is cut my go-go off.
What hurt my heart is when the guy said, this noise, they're making noise. Come on, man, that's music, man. It's everything to us.
You're calling someone's culture, someone's heart, someone's healing a nuisance. Ooh, that's trouble.
Genocides who come in and embrace the culture and then try to eliminate the culture, you're the problem.
I got into the conflict with the white guy on U Street and it went viral.
It doesn't break any DC laws and regulations.
Now, these things are not illegal, they're disrespectful.
It was God using us as a vehicle to say it's time for black people in DC and in America to fight back against gentrification and people disrespecting our culture, our history, and us as a people.
The clash shut down a long-standing tradition that defined DC culture and gave rise to a movement.
Man, we about to go in the middle of the street and raise hell.
10,000 young people showed up with no help from radio or television. It was all social media. They shut down downtown DC.
It had almost 20,000 views within minutes.
That was really the power of the people.
I turn around, I see everyone from the radio, Angie Ange, Quicksilver, Wale.
Other people around the country needed to see that. This is how you can bring people together for a united cause.
That hashtag went all the way to London.
I said, don't you.
People woke up. You know, wait, hold up, they messing our music up? Are you crazy? Everybody came out there for that. This is the biggest thing that happened since the riots.
Go-go ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. Nope.
What Don't Mute DC has become is really a platform for elevating these issues that are really important to the survival of the Chocolate City and the people who live in the Chocolate City. Go-go is like the magic. You know, it's the part that brings people together.
For us to play there that day and all those people come out and there was no violence. They even had police officers singing our music out there that day. It was beautiful.
We've been talking about the death of the Chocolate City and they done took it and it's over. And you know, that's what we've been hearing a long time. And so we needed a win.
People needed that release. And that's what it felt like when I went down there. I thought it was so beautiful. And the police, they sat there because they understood that people needed it too. I saw some girls twerking on a police car and I was like, okay. And it was okay, everything was okay.
It's about this community finally sort of standing up and saying, I deserve respect.
We can announce that this music will continue on 7th and Florida Avenue.
It's interesting to see that the music that was once sort of scapegoated for all the problems in DC is now being used. It's like the script has flipped. And now the music is being used to really step up and talk about all these other issues that have been there all along.
Now you gotta deal with the rest of the issues. Now we wanna talk about everything. We wanna talk about jobs. We wanna talk about schools. Only because you touched our radio. Gentrifiers, you had us.
Go-go is really giving the Chocolate City a voice again in a really powerful way. And like, I sort of feel like if all it took was us to get some drums out on U Street and twerk on police cars, like we should have done this a long time ago, you know? But go-go all along has been telling the story. I think the frustrations over the situation in the Chocolate City and the massive erasure of Black culture and Black people and Black bodies that have happened. Like, it has reached such a crisis point.
Whenever we decide to unite and fight back, whether it was the drum beat in Haiti, Shaka Zulu, or Don't Mute DC, we win.
Music is like everything for the Black experience. Throughout history, drums have been criminalized. Non-African cultures have not quite understood its role and its power, and it's something that they've been sort of afraid of.
The drum was always important. It was always something to uplift our spirits.
The drums lead that beat. It's that talk, you know, that conversation with the people, with your soul. You know, movement just makes you feel. Dating back to before my time and all our time, drums were banned historically. You couldn't play a drum because the slaves were trying to communicate with other slaves.
People called it whatever they wanted to call it, but we know what it was. It was the spirit, it was our ancestors.
The drum is freedom, you know? Freedom of speech and freedom of soul.
This is where the slaves came seeking freedom. Right above the Mason-Dixon line, the nation's capital, it's African. It's so very African. One of the problems that I have tried to address is to get African Americans to understand that to say something is African is probably the greatest compliment you can pay to anyone.
Go-go is connected to Africa as all music is connected to Africa.
When I step up in the sector, I'm a special effector, like black Lamborghinis, Ferraris.
The lead talker is similar to what in Nigeria would be the griot, and then the batas, the timbales, all of the instruments, the congas, the cowbells, all of it originates in Africa.
We performed in the Cape Coast in Ghana in Africa, and we were doing a call and response. We never rehearsed, and they still fell into beat with it, and it was beautiful.
We went to South Africa, and they loved every bit of it. They wanted to know what is go-go.
The whole experience was just absolutely the most incredible experience I would imagine that any musician could hope for and wish for, to perform for a king.
It's so tribal, and it's so us, and it's so deeply rooted in just African culture, and the rhythm and the vibration is taking us back to its purest form.
We have inherited these amazing traditions that are strong. They have survived the Middle Passage. They continue to be alive in our music.
I believe that the beat of go-go music is in our DNA. I really believe that.
And we love new folks coming to the city. But when they try to shut down go-go music, that's one thing we're not gonna let them do, right? I tell people all the time, you don't have to like go-go music, right? But you gotta respect the culture, right?
This is probably, in my opinion, the most informed, intellectually sophisticated community of people of African descent anywhere on the planet.
Go-go is everything. I have not found a better metaphor to be able to describe the Black urban experience in the United States.
There's still that dedication, that commitment, that enthusiasm for our own local music success story, go-go.
My secret weapon has always been the music here. It's been the vibe here.
As a native Washingtonian, you take this for granted. You think that this is just what everybody has. Everybody has their own music that is by them, of them, reflects them, speaks for them. But it's not something that anybody else in the country can really say. Like, honestly, there's nothing like it anywhere else.
When you come to DC, you will know that it is the law of the land that go-go is the official music of Washington, D.C.
Go-go is the best music in the world. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's been a part of my life.
I don't believe the Chocolate City is dead. I believe that it's still alive.
Go-go is powerful. It's been powerful. It ain't going nowhere. I just thank God for putting the beat and spirit in our souls to keep it going.
Our music will still be here, our people gonna still be here. We just gotta show the other people that's coming in, hey, you ain't gonna never be able to move the music, brother. It's the love of it, man, the heartbeat of the city, man. It's right here, this homegrown. Like I said, we ain't going nowhere, man.
It's like this whole sustainable little culture that just thrives. And people always complain that it's not doing better. People always complain that go-go's, not getting national and international attention that it deserves. And that's true, but that doesn't take away from the beauty of this culture here and how incredibly precious and important it's been to generations of people here.
Till they take the breath out my body, man, I'm gonna keep it going. I will never leave my music or my city. Chuck had that one message, don't let our music die, son.